Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's expert webinar titled Advanced AWS IAM Features. I am Ria from SpringPeople. We are India's largest enterprise training provider, and I will be your moderator for today's session. In today's session, we have Mr. Parul Kundra with us, a prominent figure in the world of cloud computing and AWS. With an illustrious career spanning over 15 years, he boasts a remarkable list of qualifications and accomplishments. Mr. Kundra's skill set extends to SQL and PL/SQL, demonstrating his prowess in database management. He is also a proficient problem solver using Python, C, and C++. And has a solid grasp of data structures, showcasing his versatility in the world of programming and technology. Having conducted over 100 AWS corporate training sessions, Mr. Kundra specializes in preparing individuals for certifications such as Solution Architect, Advanced Architect, Cloud Practitioner, and System Operations Associate. His training methods are renowned for their effectiveness. Mr. Parul Kundra will let us know about IAM Permission Boundary, AWS IAM Roles, AWS Organization, AWS Service Control Policy, AWS Cross-Account Access. To all the participants, you can mention your questions in the chat box and it will be answered at the end of the session. Now, without further ado, let's start today's session. I would like to invite Mr. Parul Kundra to start the session. Over to you, Parul.
Thank you so much, Reha. Am I audible? Could you please confirm this? Hi, Reha. Could you please confirm this? Am I audible to you, to everyone? Oh, I'm not getting response. Okay, I just wanted to know that whether I'm audible or not. Hi, everyone. So, Reha, could you please confirm this? Am I audible to you or everyone?
Yes, Parul, you are audible.
Thank you very much for the response. Okay, fine. Now, what exactly Reha said is we are going to start with that only. We'll be starting with IAM, and it is going to be our second webinar on identity and access management. If you remember, Reha already spoke that what we are going to discuss today. So what exactly we are discussing is IAM Permission Boundary. We'll be talking on roles, we'll be talking on organization, service control policy, and cross-account access. So this is something very big which we are going to cover. And if you have attended my previous session, then there I have also discussed on IAM, and if I'm not wrong, that I took on 25th of July, and where we discussed why AWS IAM, we created users, assigned them policies, authentication, authorization, understanding policies, resource-based policy and identity-based policy. So this is what we have already discussed on 25th of July. And I told you that I'll be coming back with the second webinar, and the second webinar is on today's, where we are going to discuss on advanced IAM features. So this is what we are going to discuss today. Coming back to IAM permission boundary, roles, organization, service control policy, and cross-account access. As the way we discussed, same way we are going to discuss today also. Practically, we are going to see all these things. And we'll try our level best to complete this in an hour. Fine, to make your 1 hour very fruitful. So first of all, IAM permission boundary. If you remember that day we created Sandeep and if we created Aarti, if I am not wrong, we created 3 of you who were there on my previous webinar, but I created them without permission boundary. So there is a new term on permission boundary. So what is that? So let me just show you the next picture. So the picture which is in front of you is what we have already discussed on 25th. Fine. Now we are going to discuss this part today, that is setting maximum permission. That is IAM permission boundary and AWS organization and service control policy, cross-account access roles. Very, very important lecture. Very, very important for your Now, for your certification exam, for your understanding using IAM to your organization, how you are going to use that. Let's talk about this part. So we already spoke down. So let's again create one of the user. So let me see any of the users. So we have so many users. Let's take this time Raj. So taking this time Raj, I'm going to create Raj. So we have a attendee here, Raj. So we'll be taking a Raj example and explaining you what is permission boundary and why I need. So let's say Raj is very well known to me. And what I did, I created Raj with admin right. Now you know who is admin, the one who can do anything. So I created Raj with admin right. But is it what my organization wanted me to do? Think myself, I am Dr. Kundra. I'm a Dr. Kundra, and I'm going to give permission to Raj. Raj is one of the attendee today. And I'm going to make him admin. Admin means he can access any services of AWS with full control. But is this what my organization wanted? So let's say my boss or my organization is the SpringPeople. Now SpringPeople don't want me to go like this. SpringPeople says that you can only give certain permission to anyone. But what I did, I started creating user with my own choices. Will it be like that? No. I have to follow policies no matter what I am, but I need to follow the policy of my organization. My organization says that you follow what we are allowing you to do. Don't go do anything. So what exactly we are going to do today, I'm going to show you that being as a bad manager, I'm going to give admin right to Raj. But above that, when I apply permission boundary, Raj will be only able to do what my organization is limiting me. So I'm going to set permissions, maximum permissions. So again, I'm going to create a user in front of you today, but with different rights and showing you what exactly permission boundary is all about. So there I'm going in my AWS console. This is my AWS console, if you remember. Here, how to create a user, I need to go to a service called IAM. I'm already in identity and access management, but let me just start from scratch. So when I go to IAM, so this is my AWS console where I'm in a service called identity and access manager, and I'm going to create Raj with admin right. But before I create Raj, let me show you one policy. And this policy, which I think if you have already attended my previous webinar, you might be having an understanding. So if I show you one policy PB, if I show you this, fine. So if you see this, and this PB, what if I'm giving this policy to anyone, he or she can only do any operation on S3, any operation on CloudWatch, that is monitoring service, any operation on EC2, that is a compute service or a virtual servers. Now, what exactly I'm going to do, I'm not going to do this. Either I'm going to create one user. Let me quickly do it. I'm going to create Raj. So I'm going to create Raj, going to give him a management access, and I'm going to create him as an IAM user, going to give him a password. So let me create. Okay, so I'm just creating one password for Raj, and let me not allow to change a password. So just let me write. So I created one password for Raj. And what am I going to do? I'm going to attach policy, but being as that I'm thinking that Raj is very good friend of mine, why not to make him admin? So I'm making him admin. So admin means if I open this policy, you see this, how small the policy is, but how effective. He's allowed for any action, any resource, means Raj can do anything. This is my perspective. But behind the scene, that I have not shown you in my previous webinar, there is one more thing which I can control. I can control, that is set permission boundary. So now I'm going to have a permission boundary because my organization said that you won't be able to create a user without permission boundary. So what is permission boundary? Use permission boundary to control maximum permission. Raj is thinking that he can do anything, but now see how permission boundary is going to block him. When I click on permission boundary, I again have some policies in front of me, but here I'm going to attach PB. So what is PB? Now you know with PB, if I'm attaching PB, what anyone can do, only S3, only CloudWatch, only EC2. And what admin is saying, can do anything. Let's say who takes the precedence then. So let me click on next, and then let me click on create user. So what I did, I created a user. So this is a link. I said, hey, you, my friend Raj, from my side, you are an admin, you can do anything. Even being as a bad manager, even I don't know what is permission boundary. And I made Raj very happy. Now Raj is excellent, he's enjoying that this Dr. Kundra made me a admin today. So he copied his URL, he went to his browser, to a private window. So otherwise he entered the link via which he is going to access AWS account of SpringPeople. Fine. And he's thinking that he can do anything in AWS account of SpringPeople. But will he be able to? His username is Raj and password is, let me see whether his password is correct or not. Yeah. So Raj is inside his AWS console with the intention that now he can do anything. So he said, let's do it. He went on EC2. When he went on EC2 means virtual server. Let's see what he can see or he can't see. He can see that no servers are running. When he saw that no servers are running, he checked what are stopped. He can see stopped servers. And if you want to start any server, he can even start a server. He selected a server and he simply clicked on start server. And see, server is coming in a starting state. Yes, initialized a server starting. He's happy. He's saying, wow, I'm admin, I can do anything. He called me, said, thank you, Dr. Kundra, you made my day. Now I can do anything on AWS S3 SpringPeople account. He went on S3. Now let's see, he went on S3. So let's see what he can do in S3. He can do what? Let's say he went on S3. Give me a minute. He can see all the 27 bucket of the account, owner account, and whatever he want, he can do. Whatever he want, he can do. Means if he wanted to delete a bucket or if he wanted to create a bucket, let's say he simply clicked on create bucket and he gave a bucket name as, let's say, Raj 12211, and simply he went down. So allow me a minute. Let me take this. Oh. Just give me a minute. So he simply went down. What he did, he created a bucket. And now he's very happy. Trust me, he's very happy. You know, see, one bucket successfully created, and he can see his own bucket. And now he's thinking himself as a king that Parul made him admin. Raj created in Sydney on right now at 4:44. Now he thought that he can do anything because he's admin. He's thinking that I can create a user as well. He went on IAM. Now when he went on IAM, now try to understand this. When he went on IAM, what, he's getting access denied. He said, what is this? What is this? I'm an admin. Why I'm not able to access IAM? Then he called Dr. Kundra and said, Doctor, you said that I'm admin, I can do anything. That why I am only able to do something on S3, EC2. Why not on IAM? Then I realized something went wrong. And when I inquired, I came to know that, oh my God, Raj, I'm so sorry to tell you. I created you, but by attaching permission boundary. So when I created you by attaching permission boundary, Raj, let me tell you what happened. So Raj, according to my thinking, I made you admin. But below that, I have also attached permission boundary. In permission boundary, you have permission only of S3, EC2, and CloudWatch. That's why when you went on S3, you did everything on S3, EC2, everything on EC2, or you might have went to CloudWatch, anything on CloudWatch. But if you went on IAM, you did not, because in admin, every permission was there, but in permission boundary, IAM was not there. Because of that, you were not able to do. So permission boundary are for filter or for controlling. So this is how your organization sets some policies, no matter who joins your organization, but they will only be able to do what your organization decides. Anything other than that, they will not be able to do. And how you can control that? By writing a permission boundary. So overall, if you again go back to the picture, if I go back to the picture again, so they are grantor. They are grantor, identity-based policy and resource-based policy, EC2 read only, admin or whatever is a grantor, but permission boundary is a filter, is a filter. So let me give you one example. So here we have a participant called Sandeep. Now I said, Sandeep, I'm giving you an identity based policy S3 and EC2, but in permission boundary, what am I adding? S3 all, EC2 all. Here I'm writing S3 all and IAM all. So what he can do? He can do S3? Yes, because S3 is also there. He can do EC2? No, EC2 is not there. Can he do IAM? No. IAM is in filter, but not in grantor. Nobody has granted him. If I grant him, if I would have granted him IAM, then only he can do IAM. So what exactly he can do is, which is common in both. That is need to be understood. Fine. So this was the first topic, which I tried my level best to explain you by giving you a proper example. So IAM permission boundary, what exactly you can do, which is common in both. Now you might be having a confusion. Let me take one example. So we have 22 participants here. We have Shubham Agrawal who joined very first. So welcome Shubham to the show today. And now let's say I created Shubham as a user. In identity based policy, I have not given him anything. I created user without giving anything. But in permission boundary, I gave him S3 full access. Now my question is, can he S3 full access? Now my question is, can he do anything? If you can please chat, if you can write in the chat box, I can check that. What is your understanding? I'm asking, in permission boundary, I have given S3 full access. But can he, an identity based policy, I have not given him anything. Can you please let me know that whether he can do anything or not? If you can please post your answer in the chat boxes. Anything if you have access of chat. So I'm getting yes. So, okay, I think, what about others? If you can type. So answer is no. See, permission boundary is just a filter. Try to understand. It is not a grantor. It's just a filter. You can treat it like as a father and identity based policy like a mother. Now, mother is giving you what your father is saying. Your father is saying that you can give our child this. So you can give a child that this and this and this. But he is not giving you anything. Mother will give you anything from this. If she tries to give you anything other than this, let's say she tries to give you P, she won't be able to, because it is not mentioned here. She can only give what is there in what father suggested. Fine. So permission boundary you can treat as like a dominating body. Fine. Grant filter, not a grantor. Coming back to the next topic is IAM role, which is one of the very important, very important topic for you to understand and learn from IAM roles. Fine. It's a biggest topic since we have so many topics, but I'll try my level best to show you some very good things. Now, what is roles? If I create a user and give him a S3 permission, so he has this permission, and whenever he wants, he can access this S3 lifetime till user is there and till permission is there. And suppose I created one group, and in my group there is Shubham Agrawal, there is Sandeep, there is Raj, there is Preeti, there is Aarti, and I attach a policy to a group, and the policy is for S3 and EC2. Means all this Shubham Agrawal, Sandeep, Raj, Preeti, Aarti can access S3 and EC2. But let's say Sandeep is saying that, doctor, I also wanted to access RDS, relational database. So what I'll do, either I'll write, if I'll give a permission to a group of RDS also. So what will happen by this? All the user will get RDS permission, but only Sandeep is looking for it. What next? Or let's say Sandeep and let's say Saurabh, no, Shubham Agrawal is looking for RDS. So what? I should create a separate group and add Sandeep and Saurabh Agrawal over there. One more group and add one special permission RDS. Now tomorrow, if this Rohit, let's say Preeti, Aarti also wanted to work on RDS, every time should I go and add user and do this? This is not a good practice. What is the good practice is what you create a role. You create a role, and by creating a role, anyone who can assume this role can work on it. Until in this roles, they get some tokens, there is a service called security token service, which I'm going to show you. Allocate some temporary credential to the user who is assuming the role. Let's say this role have a permission of RDS. So those who are assuming this role can work on RDS by assuming a role. So security token service will give some security tokens that will have a validity by default of 1 hour, and maximum it can go for 12 hours, and they can work under when they are assuming a role. Once they are out of it, so they are back to their original copy. Now I think this I know very well, no, teaching all this concept theoretically is a bad part, and you won't be able to understand. Let me make it very easy for you. So what am I going to do? I'm going to teach you from scratch roles. Now here I have already explained you this method, that we have an analyst group where we have Richard, Anna, and Shirley. Now let's say Shirley and Anna wanted to jump to this particular service or group, so they'll be assuming a role and they'll be jumping it. Even not that, I'll show you cross account access today, and you are going to love this. If you're here and listening me carefully, trust me, this is going to be the beneficial 1 hour of your life. Let's understand all these things. So who can assume a role? Shubham Agrawal can assume a role, means our user can assume a role. Even a service can assume a role. Hey doctor, service can assume a role? I'm not getting this. And federated user, non-AWS user can assume a role. I'm actually not getting this. I'm saying where I'm asking you to get from a picture. We are not here for picture. We are here for technical understanding. So let's make a proper technical understanding of all those things. Let me give you a very good example of service first. So if I go to IAM, here I have one thing called role. This is beauty. Let me tell you, this is beauty. If I click on role, and if I create a role, then I have 5 options. All 5 cannot be covered today, but I'll try my level best to cover two of this today. A role you can create for a service. Any service can assume a role. Again, why the hell service wanted a role? If you think that's why service wanted a role, let me give you a clear picture. If your Lambda is trying to access DynamoDB, if you know DynamoDB is a database, then Dynamo will say, how dare you touch me? Even Lambda and Dynamo both are AWS services, but they both cannot touch each other before Lambda has a permission of touching DynamoDB. I'm going to use this Lambda, or DynamoDB touches any service, so should have a permission of doing that. Before, without permission, they cannot access it. So even two services cannot talk to each other without permission. So one role I can create for AWS service, allow AWS services like EC2, Lambda, or other to perform action in this account. Or any one of you can assume a role, means any one of you can assume a role. Let me take another name, otherwise other attendees will get, will not feel happy that why this person is only taking Shubham's name. So let's take Sonali. So now Sonali wanted to understand this. So Sonali says that, okay, I wanted to understand what is this. So let's say, Sonali, I wanted to give you a permission of accessing some services in this account, or I can ask you to jump to another account also. So when you can do all those things, the web identity, SAML federation, custom trust policy comes in a picture. When you are doing something from third party, authentication provider, I'll be just talking on that, but let's first cover AWS service, and let me show you one very good example. So let me take you Mumbai. So here, if I take you to Mumbai, you see Mumbai. So if I take you to Mumbai, here I have so many instances. You see this instance, C3888. This is test EC2 instance, which is by default stopped, Now I'm going to start this with Lambda. So Lambda is going to touch EC2. So let's do that. So I have also already written LAM BDA Lambda. So let me click on Lambda. I've just written a simple Python code to start this EC2. So I have a code called start EC2 Lambda function. Fine. And if you just simply see the code, very simple code in Python. So if I show you the code is that the instance is C2888, which is in front of you. You can see this instance ID. I'm not 9C2888, whatever you wanted to read from. So 9C2888, fine, is a server which I wanted to. So what am I doing? I'm doing EC2 start instance and I'm giving the instance ID. Fine. So what will happen if I click on test? So let's say what happens. So what it is saying that it has started your instance. It is saying that instance started. Let me check whether instance started or not by running Lambda. So let me refresh it. So if I see yes, it is starting. It is going in a pending state. Lambda touched EC2. How can Lambda touch EC2? Does Lambda has a permission? Yes. I wanted to show you this. Lambda has a permission of touching EC2 because what, just wanted to see that. So let me go to the configuration section of Lambda. Lambda's service. And if I go here and if I show you a role, so one role I have attached, API role start stop EC2. If I click and show you this role, I'll show you how to create this role. So if I show you this role has a permission of what? Can you see this? Has a permission of EC2 full access. Because of that, server is able to, Lambda is able to access that function. Let me stop this. Let me just stop. So this server is in running state. So let me show you running. It's running, and let me stop this server. Let me stop this server. Now what am I going to do? I'm going to show you value of role. So here this is a role which I created, and the name of role is API role start stop EC2 server. If I remove this permissions from Lambda from a role, so let me remove this. Let me remove this. So what I did, I removed. I wanted to check whether now my Lambda can execute or not. Now my Lambda can start this function or not. So which is to start this server. So again, my server is in a stopped state. Again, my server is in a stopped state. And I have a Lambda to start it. And if I go to the Lambda code, yes, it has an instance to start it. But unfortunately, what I did, the role which is attached having some permission, I have removed that permissions. So let me see if I test this. Is it now able to start my function? Let me start. Oh no, I'm getting an error message. Please read the error. An error occurred when calling start instance operation. You're not authorized to perform this operation. Means how your Lambda can touch EC2 if it has not a permission of touching EC2. Now hope you understand what is the meaning of when you create Lambda. So when you create a role, so for what purpose you are creating a role, you should be knowing it. So what I did, because I wanted this Lambda to start EC2, so I created one role and attached that role with this Lambda. So how to do that? So role, so you go to IAM again, and how to create a role? Simply what to do, you simply go and click on role. Now you are creating this role for what? So you simply click on role. You are creating a role for service. Yes. What? Lambda to access, EC to access something, something to something access something. Fine. So for service, which service? So there are so many services for which you are creating a role. I'm creating a role for Lambda. Okay. So you're creating a role for Lambda. Okay, great. Let me click on next. Fine. So what permission you wanted to give? Anything. Let's say EC2. So EC2 or S3. So you write S3. So I wanted to give S3 access to my Lambda. That is my Lambda wanted to access, not right now. I don't want my Lambda to access EC2. I want my Lambda to access S3. So I'm giving S3 permission. Let me click on next. And let me give a role name. So whatever you write a role. So let's say S3 access role. And how? This is how your role is going to access create role. So your role, you have created a role. Now those who ever wanted to have this S3 full access can take this role and can work on it. Very simple. So very simple is first part. Coming back to the next, since we are in a role, let's complete the role part first. So we are in a touch of it. So we'll do a cross account access and other part as well. So I'm going to teach you this complete thing. So let's understand one by one all these things. Fine. So okay, coming back to this, I'm going to create one role. So I'm going to create one role and to the user who can access what? EC2 permanently, but S3 only by assuming a role. Not every time, only by assuming a role. How to do that? Let's do that. So I'm going to show you another method. So first of all, I'm going to create a user. So let me first, the Raj we created, we need to delete this. So let me delete a Raj. And let's create another user. So I'm going to create another user, and this user I'm creating a user called Sandeep, or let me create Sonali. And this time, what am I saying? That Sonali is a user who can permanently access my EC2 instance. So I'm giving some password to Sonali. I'm creating a user. Let me click on next. Let me attach a policy. So my user is Sonali, and I wanted her to access EC2 instances for read-only purpose. Let me click on next, and I'm going to create a user. So what I did, I created a user. This user is only having a permission of accessing EC2 permanently, which I have directly attached. But if she wanted to access S3, then she have to assume a role. How to do that? So first of all, let's see what she can do or not. So we'll go to a separate window. So we'll go to a separate window. There we'll paste a link to access what Sonali can do or what Sonali can't do. We'll check that. Okay, so we'll go for a Sonali and then password. So what we have given, that Sonali can access EC2 read only. She can only read EC2 instances. Let's check that. So we'll go to EC2. Let's check that whether she's able to read instances or not. So if she clicks, so this is Sonali at the rate my account. Is she able to access EC2? Yes, she can access EC2 instances. But is she able to access S3? I don't want it to give a proper permission of S3 to Sonali. So she's not able to access the buckets. She's not allowed to do that. But only when I allow her with some temporary credentials, that is by assuming a role. So what I'll be doing, I'll be going back to my account, and now I'm creating a role. See, try to understand. I'm going to create again a role, and this role I'm going to create a role. So role, create role. Now I'm using the second option, and the second option is for this account only. And what I wanted, that this under this account, let me click on next. What a user can do something on S3. What S3? Let's say S3 read only. So let me have S3 read only. So read only. Let me click on next. I'm creating, let's say, Sonali role. So let me make it Sonali role. Fine. And what am I going to do is that I'm creating a role. I created one role. So just by creating one role, what will happen? Will Sonali be able to access S3 bucket? So I created Sonali. No, again not. If you go to Sonali's account, will not be able to do that. So if we reload it, so this is Sonali's account. If we created a role, so will she able to? But will she be able to access S3? No. So we have to attach this role with Sonali. No, only that. If again I go to S3, will she be able to? No, still not. She's not allowed. If I click on buckets, she is not able to. She's having no permission. Now, how to do that? So please try to understand how we are going to do that. So first of all, go to the role, Sonali, Sonali role. Click on that role. I'm going to show you how you do this. Copy this role ARN number, and very simple, very simple is that you simply go to a user to whom I wanted it to assume a role. So I'll go to a user. what user? Sonali. So Sonali, Sonali is a user. And I'm going to create one inline policy that we have already discussed for Sonali. So what am I going to do? I'm going to create a policy for Sonali. Very simple JSON policy. Very simple. What action? So action, I wanted her to STS to get tokens. In tokens, what? Assume role. Assume role. Simple. When you select this, see, automatically this will be auto-filled. Now, what is the resource she's going to assume? I'll put a double quote and paste the ARN number of a role. Simple, done. So I created one policy for Sonali for assuming a role. Which role? Sonali role. Now see how beautifully Sonali is going to access that role. So I'm making a name as Sonali policy, Policy. And now you see this. Now I'm creating a policy. Now you see the beauty of role. So if I go to Sonali, right now she's not able to access a bucket. Obviously in this account, she has no permission, but if once she assume a role, so how to assume a role? If you are a user, IAM user, click here. Here you have an option of switching a role. So when you click on switch role, then see what happens. Then see, you can see what happens after that. So here you need to write account ID. So in which account she is going to assume a role? In the same account. Which account? This account. Let me copy this. No. In the same account, she is going to assume a role. So let me paste this account. What is the role name? What is the role name? What she is going to assume? So what role we created? So what role we created? So the role we created, let me click on role and you paste the same role. So we created Sonali, SONA. So let me copy this role. So I want Sonali, you please assume this role. You are entering as if you wanted to display any name. Let's say AWS Sonali. SONALI. So you write that name, it's optional. Any color you are interested in, you can write and see. Are you able to switch to a role? See the beauty. Now it's switching on this role. Now you see AWS Sonali with the color and she can see all the bucket. When she assumed this role, so she got one temporary credentials. And with that temporary credential, she is under that role. But this role has only permission of S3. Here, if she tried to access EC2, let's say if here she is trying to access EC2, she won't be able to. Because one, you can say that one soul came to her and she's assumed one role, one soul. And with that role, now she can't do anything. In EC2, she are not authorized. But I have given her a EC2. But now, when she was not assuming the role, now she has assumed a role, she can only do S3. No, if she wants, she can go back. So go back. So what you can do? So you can switch back. So please switch back. So once you switch back, now see this. Now she came back to its original state. Now there is no soul she's assuming. She came back to its original state. Now here she can see EC2 instances. But before that, she was not able to. So this is how you assume a role. So this is how you are assuming a role and doing a role. Now I'm going to cover one more topic as of now. What? Cross account access. This is the beauty. Cross account access. So we have one more cross account access. Let's see this also. So what? So we'll take a same example of Sonali. Now I want Sonali to access in your AWS. In your company where you are working, there may be multiple AWS accounts. So your organization, let's say Sonali is assigned with a task that she should go to a second AWS account and there she access S3 bucket from there. So if you see my AWS account, in my AWS account, there are 27 buckets. So if I show you my AWS account where Sonali is my user, by assuming a role of my account, she can see all the 28 buckets and which she was able to see when she was assuming a role. But now I want Sonali, you please, I'm giving you a permission, you go to the next account and in next account, you go and access that account. And whatever permission I'm going to give her in that account, I want her to access that. What is that? Let me show you that even. So what exactly I'm trying to tell you is that, please understand. So let me draw one picture for you guys so that I'll make you understand what I'm saying. What I did as of now in my account, what I did as of now in my account, that is AWS account, starting with 87 something something with 12 digit. I created a user Sonali and I gave her EC2 read only policy, and she was able to. But I created one role for S3 read only. I said if you can only access S3 when you assume a role, and those who can assume a role can do this as S3. So I did that, and she was able to assume a role. And once she assumed the role, she was able to access S3 of whose account? My account. Now scenario is different. There is one more AWS account. I want Sonali to access the buckets of this account also with read permission or write permission, whatever. So let's say this is AWS second account with some ID 20 or something. There are also some buckets, and I want her to access this account. So you know what I'll do? I'll be creating one role here, and this time I'll be creating role for other account. Once I created role, I created for same account. Now I'm going to create role for other account, and for other account I'm going to give permission to Sonali. Let's see what happens. Let's do that. So what am I going to do is I'm going to show you my second AWS account. Please see my second AWS account. So here I go to a separate window. This is a separate window, and here if I type sign into AWS console, let me show you one thing. Please understand. So let me sign out from Sonali, otherwise I'll keep on getting this. I came out of. Let me sign into AWS, another AWS account, which is not mine account. It's a different AWS account. It may be a scenario. So I wanted to sign in as a root user, and what I wanted, and this is my account, this account, and password. Now let me click on this account. I just wanted to show you all, first try to understand what is cross account access. So first of all, see this account. This account, there may be any use case now where you might wanted to access somebody else's account. Fine. So creating a user will be a dangerous thing. You simply create a role and allow, and once you remove it, he'll not be able to. Simple. So here if you go to, this is Pooja's account, and if I show you S3, so in my account there were 28 buckets. Let's see how many buckets Pooja has. So Pooja has 14 buckets. Now I'll show you that how Sonali can access these buckets. So what I'll be doing in this account, I'll go to, in Pooja's account, I'll go to IAM. I'll go to IAM, and I'm going to build trust with Parul Kundra account. So my name is Dr. Kundra, and this is my account. So Pooja is going to build trust relation with this account, and my account ID is, let me copy this account ID. Why I'm copying, I'll show you. So let me go back to Pooja's account, and in Pooja's account, I'm creating one role. So this time I'm creating a role, try to understand, for AWS account. And when I'm creating this for AWS account, but not for same account, for another account, Pooja's account ID is this. So let me copy. First, I wanted her to access this account. Fine. And so I want, she's giving a, authority of this account to access something. What something? The permission. So let me click on next. What she wanted. So I want, she's saying that if somebody is coming from Dr. Kundra account, can able to read my S3 bucket. So can able to read S3 read only. Only you can do only read. So read. So we'll go for this. Now click on next. Create a role. So we'll give a same name, Sonali role, for cross account access, Sonali role CRA. So we'll make it. And what we'll do, try to understand, is we'll simply create a role. So what we did in Pooja's account, we have created one role. So if I show you Sonali role, understand this meaning of this. So when I show you a role, and if I show you the trust relationship, so Pooja is building a trust relationship with root account of Dr. Kundra's, because Pooja account ID is different. It's 2077. She is building a trust relationship with Kundra's root account, and those who are going to assume this, role. Which role? So let me copy the ARN number. So I copy the ARN number of this role and let me paste it in some notepad. So let me paste it so that I'll be using it. So this role, and those who will be assuming this role will be able to access what? This account from Dr. Kundra's account. Fine. So this is what our role is. Now we'll go to Parul Kundra account. There we have created one person, the person, a user is Sonali. So we'll go to a Sonali, go to again Sonali, and we'll search Sonali. So we'll say, hey Sonali. Sonali says, yes sir. So Sonali, from today you were accessing my bucket from my account. From now onwards, we are giving you to access other account bucket also. So we are going to make it changes in your policy. So which policy? This Sonali policy. So the Sonali policy which we previously created was having a ARN number of a role of same account, but I am going to add ARN number of other account also. So how to add? So let me do that. So what I'll do, so for adding, so if you're adding more than one, so first of all, what you write comma, press this. If you do this, it will be an error. So you need to put it in a bracket. So you just put it in a bracket, and let me just create a bracket. So this is how you create. Give me a minute. Oh, double quotes. This is double quote, which is, see, you see. So I'm saying, see, Sonali role I created in Parul Kundra account. Sonali role cross account access I created. So Sonali can work in Parul Kundra's account also, can work in Pooja's account also. And whenever I want that she should not work in a Pooja, I'll simply go to it and remove it. So that is something which is not. So let me click on next, and let me just click on save changes. Trust me, now she can access Pooja's account also. So how to do that? So what? So we'll scroll down. So we'll go up, copy the credentials of Sonali's. Fine. So we'll go here, and instead of Pooja, we'll give the account of Sonali. So now Sonali is going to access own account. Let's do that. So user was so let's see that. So Sonali came to her own account of Dr. Kundra, but she's now can jump to other account also. So by what? By assuming a role. So she'll be switching a role. So now she is switching to which account? Different account. So let's see whether she'll able to do that or not. So let's check that. Okay. So what is account ID? So here I need to paste account ID of different account. So different account is Pooja's account. So let's copy this. Control C. Let's paste this. What role we created? We need to paste the same role name. So we created role name called Sonali role cross account access. So we'll paste that account. This is optional, but we'll make it, let's say Sonali Pooja. Sonali Pooja cross account access. The name will reflect, and this time we'll choose a blue color, and let's switch the role. Is she able to? And yes, I made my user to go to someone else's account and access his or her account. If you don't trust me, she is under Pooja's account, because in Pooja there were 14 buckets, and right now if she is in Pooja's bucket, she'll only see 14 buckets. Yes, she is only seeing 14 buckets. That's awesome that she can see the 14 buckets. That is what I wanted to show you, the cross account access. This is the beauty of roles. So by roles, and tomorrow if I don't want Sonali to do that, I'll be simply removing it. Simple, very simple. I'll be making a trust relationship changes, and will not let the root, but I'll make the changes. I'll be doing that. So what is the advantage of role? If somebody hacks also, every time you are getting a security tokens. So you simply, if you hack also, you get security tokens, and they are changing every time. So role is the beauty. Now you might be thinking that why this person is not teaching us this other options. So when you go and click on role, you get 5 options. So web identity, SAML, no, security assertion markup language 2.0, custom trust policies. There are other methods. So here in this 1 hour of time, it's impossible. But let me give you a brief idea. So what is brief idea is that if I type here AWS, let me write GitLab login. So if I'm logging to GitLab, so if I log into GitLab, so see what happens. Either I should have my user ID or password, I might have an account, or it is saying that you can access via Google, GitLab, or Bitbucket, or Salesforce. These are all what? Web identities. So if you don't have this account, you can access via. So they are saying, let's say somebody comes to your home and knocks the door. You say, who are you? And the moment you said, who are you? Your brother came from behind, or your sister came. No, allow him. I know him. So your brother is the one who is approving that. Please allow him. Here, Google is allowing that. I know this person. He's an authenticated person. So if he is using his Google account or she is using Google account, it's okay. You can allow him AWS access. So AWS, you can access AWS access. You can access AWS services via these methods as well. That's called web identities. So that is called web identities. Now, SAML, if you are using Active Directories, for authentication in your own organization, so you can use your Active Directory credentials to use. That is called SAML, Security Essential Assertion Markup Language. And then you can have a custom trust policy also, but we cannot cover in this course. So overall, we discuss what is service role by using Lambda. When we attach Lambda with what at EC2, and when we removed Lambda with EC2, we saw that we were not able to. Then we created role for same account access. We created role for another account access. Now I'm going to teach you AWS Organization. Now what is AWS Organization? AWS Organization. So let's understand AWS Organization. So see this. So permission boundary we covered, roles we covered, cross account access we covered. No, cross account access we covered. Now cross account access we covered. So by assuming a role, you can see how Sonali was jumping from one role. So with cross account permission, she was jumping. No, but otherwise, if she don't have that, then she should be having 2 different user ID and password, one of Pooja's account and one of Parul Kundra account. So we made it very simple by assuming a role. Now we'll talk on service control policy and organization. What is organization? When I talk about AWS account, your organization may have multiple AWS accounts. One they be using for dev account, one they be using for prod account, ones they be using for, let's say, any account, prod account, dev account, security accounts. So they are creating separate AWS account for all the team, test team. Now they wanted to manage this all account centrally, because these all accounts are producing their own bills. Now let's say your organization has 100 accounts and they are getting 100 bills. It's a big headache for your organization. So your organization says we want consolidated billing. We want consolidated billing, first thing. And second, if we wanted to apply policy, centrally. So we wanted to apply policy centrally. That, let's say, policy is that no account will be able to create any server other than T2 Micro. So T2 Micro is a server which has a capacity of 1 CPU and 1 GB of RAM. 1 GB of RAM. And your organization says, no matter we have 100 account, but no account will be able to create any server other than T2 Micro. And trust me, by using policy centrally, they will not be able to. So how this organization looks like. So if you don't have organization, then you have to do a redundant task. You have to apply policy here, you have to apply policy here. And if we have 100 accounts, we'll be doing this same time. No, we won't be doing this. So we'll be using AWS Organization. So organization, we have root. Under root, you have different OUs, that is called organization units. And under OU, you can have different AWS account. Let's say this is your prod OU. Under prod, you have 1, 2, 3 account. This is your development OU. Under dev, you have 1, 2, 3, 4 account. One may be your security organization unit. So you have. Then you can apply service control policies at any level. Trust me. At root level, at OU level or at account level. See, I'm creating one policy, and the policy is that no account will be able to create any server other than T2 micro. So if I apply at root, nobody will be able to. If I apply at root level service control policy, only these account will not be able to create server other than T2 micro. Or if I apply at this account, so only this account will not be able to create server other than T2 micro. That is for controlling maximum permission. So again, going back and showing you the PPT again. So you go and see the PPT again. What left? AWS Organization Service Control Policy. So again, practically, no theory. So let me show you first and make you understand very clearly. If I write here AWS Organization, you see my organization and try to understand what I'm saying. You just simply see my organization and see what am I saying. Try to understand this. And so see what is the root structure. On top we have root account. Under that we have OUs, account OU, admin OU, Deloitte OU, development OU, DXC OU, HCL OU. So many teams which I am taking care of. Siemens OU, testing OU, Vanguard OU. Fine. And this is me, Parul Kundra. I'm the owner of this account. Fine. So own management account. Now under development, I have one account which I have already shown you, Pooja's account. So what if I wanted to apply control on all? So I'll be going on policies. In policy, we have service control policy. And one policy I'm going to show you, one is full access. If you click on full access says everyone is allowed. Every operation is allowed, and that which it is applied to all. So it says we are not stopping you. It is applied to all. Account, child account, admin OU, Deloitte OU, development OU. So it says everything is allowed. But if everything is allowed, you can do anything. But again, remember one thing. They are filter. Again, I'm saying they are filter. If they say everything is allowed, that does not mean it is allowed. It will only be allowed if you give something here. But I'll write deny policies. That is called service control policy. See this carefully. So what I'm going on policies again, and I'm going to show you one policy, EC2 restriction policy. If you read this policy, the policy is saying that you are denying of running EC2 instances in any account, any region, if your server is not T2 micro, if string is not equal to T2 micro. If it is not T2 micro, you are not going to run this. So let me do it. So let me click on service control policy. Let me select service control policy. Let me go to action and let me attach this policy to the root. If to the root, it is applied to all. So I have what I did that, and I attach a policy. Now you know what happens. I'll only take 1 minute of yours. Now if you go to Pooja's account and if you try to create any server other than T2 micro, so you cannot run instance in any account, any region if it is not T2 micro. So let's check that. No, we are here to check. We are not here to understand things theoretically. So let's understand the service control policy. So let me sign out and let me directly go to Pooja's account and we'll try to create any server other than T2 micro. So let me sign into the console and we'll access Pooja's account and we'll see whether this service control policy is working or not. So let me sign in at root user and we'll type here Pooja's details, PJ, and let me enter her password and let me sign in. And if I try to create any server other than T2 micro, am I allowed to do that or not? Let's check that. So I'm in Pooja's account, not Parul Kundra account. Fine. I'm going to create EC2 and wanted to check whether as service control policy is working or not. So I'll go and simply within a second I'll create. So not to worry. I'll launch an instance. Within 30 seconds I'll create a server. In Ohio, I'm creating any region, any account. No. So let me make it as let me take a last name of yours. So we have a name called Rajan. So let me make a Rajan server. So if I make Rajan, RAJAN, Rajan server, SERVER, and when I create a server, what I choose so many things. So let me go down and see if I'm not choosing T2 micro, I won't be able to. So I'm not choosing T2 micro. I'm choosing T2 Nano. Let's see whether I'll able to create a server or not. I'm simply not creating any key, so because I have to just simply check that whether I'm able to create server or not. And let me simply launch an instance. And if I launch an instance, will I be able to do or not? I wanted to check that. Oh, failed. And I'm getting a message, you are not authorized to perform this operation. Is not authorized to run instance on this with an explicit deny service control policy. That's wow. See how centrally you are. So you are sitting at one place and you have 100 EC2, 100 AWS account. And if you wanted to apply policies central by sitting at one place, you can apply. That is called service control policy. So whatever we have seen today, we have seen everything practically. To understand each and every concept, either its role or assigning policies, organization, what is the structure, what is service control policy, what it looks like. Fine, we did that. Fine, cross account access and everything. So now over to you, Reha. Hi, Reha. Are you there? Kaushik. Hi, Reha. Hi, Kaushik. Are you there? Meanwhile, if you have any questions, you can post your questions. No worries. Hi, Reha. Kaushik, if you are there to take the words. So if you have any question, you can post your question in the chat box. You see the questions. I cannot see any questions. You can wait for a minute. Hi, Reha. Hi, Kaushik. Are you all there? Am I audible to use both?
Yes, sorry for that. My audio was not working.
Please take a control. Yeah.
All right. So thank you, Parul, for your invaluable insights on technology. I'm sure it was certainly a very informative session for all of you. If you are interested in learning more about the AWS course, check out our super discounted batches, a virtual instructor LED training on our website, springpeople.com. These VILT trainings can be accessed online from the comfort of your home and are flexible according to your schedule and location. Special offers: AWS Solutions Architect Associate 75 to 80% off. Systems Operations on AWS 75 to 80% off. AWS Cloud Practitioners Foundational Level Course 30% off. AWS Skill Builder 70% off. If you don't find any suitable batches, we'd be happy to discuss and schedule private batches for you. If you don't have time to join live online, try our affordable self-paced courses. For more information, write to us at training@springpeople.com or call the number displayed on the current slide. Now we will open the forum to answer questions that we have received during the session. So let's get our questions answered. Over to you, Parul.
Thank you so much. I think I cannot see any question. If you can help me with any questions, I can't see any questions over there. So none of the questions which are displayed, which I can see, not in a questions or in a chat also. I can see any questions. So from my side, I'm done with the day. I tried my level best to give you understanding on, my dear participant, understanding on IAM. So if you have not seen the first part, you can go to our YouTube channel of Spring People. You can go to the first part, which is already uploaded, IAM. This will be very soon uploaded to AWS, the channel of Spring People. And you can see this video as well. And if you don't have any question from my side, thank you very much. And yeah, over to you, Reha.
Okay, thank you, Parul. And thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here. We shall be sending out the webinar recording to all the participants soon. I request you to kindly provide feedback before signing off, which will help us improve the quality of our future events. Thanks again for joining us today. Signing off on behalf of Team Spring People. Hope to see you again for our next expert webinar. Thank you.